Hi, I'm Arthur, and I would just like to say thank you for 5,000 sub... Whoa. Well, this is getting out of hand quickly. For real though, thanks for everything. I have no idea how I'm able to make this many subscribers in such a short time, but I'm going to keep riding this train for as long as I can. As a show of humility and to prove that I do in fact read the comments, today's video is dedicated to you lot. You all so proud and noble souls whom keep me honest and make sure that whenever I make a claim that it is correct. Most of the time. Sometimes you guys just make fun of me for saying some made-up words incorrectly and make me want to beat my head against a wall. But that's okay. That is what today's video is dedicated to. 5 things that I got wrong or misread in the lore in my videos. That's 1 mistake per 1,000 of you fuckers. Wait till we hit 10k and I might start making top 10 lists. That's gonna be fun, right? Totally never done before. I'm gonna try something new today too, to kind of ring in the new era of post 5k Arthur Bonesman. I'm gonna start the video by asking you all to subscribe, like, and comment below if you know anything else I've fucked up. I want to get better at this, and you all keep me on that stable path of improvement and growth. So I'm always down for criticism, warranted or not, and if not, I'll just make fun of you. Yeah. Without further ado, I give you 5 things that I got wrong in my videos. Yeah, there isn't a specific video involved in this, but it's more or less spread out throughout several videos where people really don't like how I pronounce certain words. The biggest one was when I said cairn instead of carn, which, to be fair, in a written medium, this is how I always pronounced it in my head, and a lot of people in my local community said it the same way as well. Perhaps it's my own bias towards specific pronunciations, but it doesn't stop there, baby! Satan Shard, which I will never stop saying that way. I just think it sounds better than saying it with the K sound, because then it just sounds like I'm saying Catan, the board game, which... Okay, cool. I guess it could sound cooler to some people, but for me, I like that saying Satan vaguely sounds like you're saying Satan rather than a board game. Were there more errors in pronunciation? Yeah, of course, though less were covered extensively than those. One friend of mine got after me for saying Achek Ariman instead of Azhek, which that just sounds stupid and way too literal. Let's just all agree that the names in 40k are a little silly from time to time. It sometimes takes me out of the lore when I'm reading through like a novel, where they would refer to things by name that was established in the universe rather than what the colloquial term that we would recognize is. One of the ones that really got under my skin recently was I'm dipping my toes into the Warhammer horror catalog. And horror is something that is bred upon relatability. So if you can relate to a situation, you can be afraid of it. So pain is a very universal thing people relate to, so we're afraid of it in stories. Being scared is something we can all relate to, whatever. So when Warhammer tries to build up these characters, and instead of saying a desk, they're like a Woodimus Maximus Platformicus, it really takes me out of the setting. And I remember there was, in this one audio drama called Perdition's Flame. I did not like it. There were bits of it that I did like, but one of the things that I didn't like was there was an Inquisitor in the beginning who's described as having the constant ticking sounds of world dials. And I'm like, oh, that's a good way to describe watches and clocks. And they say she was covered in chronometers. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I guess I know what a watch is, but I guess we're calling it a chronometer here. And it just reminded me that I'm reading a story rather than getting immersed in the book. Basically, that is silly. Don't like it. I'm bad at saying words, but you still follow me to hear me say words, so joke's on you. Once again, this isn't based on a specific video. This is actually mentioned throughout all of my earlier Legion videos, but suffice to say, I thought that actual OG Legionnaires weren't a thing. There weren't many, at least. I thought all the war bands were just new Marines that were raised in the ways of war of the old Legion. Well, color me fucking wrong when I found out that not only are there thousands of original traitors still around, most of the OG Legions are populated almost exclusively by them. The Emperor's Children, Word Bearers, World Eaters, their entire Legion is mostly populated by members of the fucking Horus Heresy and not on the winning side. There's entire flagships piloted by humans that are still around from then. See, I didn't account for the fact that the Eye of Terror dilates time. Essentially, a second in the warp could either be a year in real time, or it could be the other way around, where a month could pass in the warp and seconds could pass in real space. So you have a bunch of Marines whom could have literally just been fighting a few days in the warp, the wounds from the heresy on the walls of Terra still open, and then just they suddenly pop out and they're being assaulted by the Iron Templar successor chapter, and they're just quite confused and befuddled because they've never seen a Marine with that color armor and they don't know what Primarch they belong to. So yeah, legions of traitor Marines are likely still the legions from the Horus Heresy, with a few additions. I know there's a lot of Iron Hands warbands out there that make new people, but a lot of the older Marines are still around, especially for the Emperor's Children. Where the fuck do I even begin? I liked the Iron Warriors video, and a lot of you did too. But a lot of people took up arms at a few details I missed, which is kind of funny because the Iron Warriors video might actually be the video where people got the most upset over the minute details that I missed. So for the first one, this was the big one that I definitely forgot and I should have mentioned. All Primarchs have superpowers. It's usually some weird, unnatural, likely warp-spawned ability to do something. Some can turn invisible, some can process ideas instantly and react accordingly, but Peter Turbo here technically had two. The one I mentioned was he could look at any machine or anything that was ever built and instantly know how to make it better and more efficient. But the main one people got after me for was not mentioning, for some reason, no matter where he was, he could see the Eye of Terror. Which is essentially, if you don't know, this massive butthole in the middle of the universe where the worst shit exists. Usually warp shenanigans. It might have possibly contributed to his personality issues that he could at all times see the literal gates of hell. Which, okay, cool, I'll concede that. Next one is kind of funny. Because I'm like 99% certain I said something to the effect of, I know dick all about Roman and Greek history, so a lot of these story elements where the in-universe parallels happen go over my head. There were, I think, 10 people who heard me fumble over the execution of 1/10 of his legion as punishment for him showing up and finding out that they failed a mission, and they let me know that I'm a bit of a dum-dum for not knowing that in Roman society this was an exact form of punishment that already existed called decimation. I should probably have done more reading into that so I could understand the parallels more, because there are a lot of cultural parallels to Roman and 40k literature. I'm reading books about giant armored men with big guns shooting at other big things. I don't want applicable skills here. I'm fine with just reading the books and having you guys yell at me, but I will understand going forward. And if ever you guys note a parallel that I don't know, make sure to point it out in the comments. I'd love to know, because like seeing the differences between them gives me a little bit of tangential learning to go off of. And regardless of that, the Iron Warriors and Perturabo are still one of my favorite legions and Primarchs. Just look at that face. I want to give him a big smooch. Okay, this one is kind of embarrassing. Basically, I got the names mixed up for a thing in my 3 Funny Things video, where I said that Syrian was the one that got shot in the face in the ship, and someone else was laughing, falling onto the ground. Turns out it wasn't Syrian, it was actually Zarl, who's a bit of a dickhead in the books, who was shot in the face, and Syrian was the one whom fell laughing his ass off. As of this video, I have read the 2nd book in the series, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Syrian may be one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. He is just not taking this shit seriously most of the time and reacts the way my internal monologue wishes I could in public spaces. He just takes the piss out of everything. Good example, when the rest of the crew of First Claw are invading the Marines' errant fortress monastery. He is fighting alongside the Red Corsairs, whom suicide charge a gun line, while the more hit-and-run tactic Night Lords stay behind and take pot shots to avoid getting harmed. He then audibly says something to the effect of, and I quote,
"Holy shit, we gotta take these guys with us everywhere. I haven't gotten hit once."
That's fucking hilarious! I love Space Marines with a sense of humor, so him laughing on the ship when Zarl tried to speak to a human and failed horribly makes the error stand out more to me. So please forgive me for this, but whoopsie, I confused this with this. Yeah, I completely confused this one in the Blood Angels vid, where I said the Angels Vermilion made a deal with the Lord of Change to learn the secret to cleanse the red thirst from them, which they got. Turns out, no, it was the Blood Drinkers, which again, excuse me, I completely mistook the sorrowing for the fucking Rite of Holos, which, from a reductionist point of view, is basically the same fucking thing, which sucks because I don't want to hate the Blood Angels. It's just, whenever I read about them, I get annoyed at how little fun I'm having. They just don't activate any joy in my brain, and the successor chapters are all a little too similar in color scheme and aesthetic to the original chapter. I know there's a lot of differences, like Flesh Terrors. I like the fact that even though they're black and red, their red is almost a burgundy and their black is pitch black, and it looks cool. But other than that, it's like mostly red and gold, mostly red and yellow, red and silver, bright red, all using the same Mephiston red paint, which sucks. It's just constant iterations of the same shit. They are still mid, I'm not taking it back. I might even make a sequel to complain about it further, but that is for another date.
And I will not apologize for my tone tonight.
And for now, I have atoned and cleansed my spirit of all taint, and thus I can continue forward to making more. Oh fuck, here we go. You thought I was over? Nah. Because I took so long making this, we're doing the 7,000 sub special now. 2 more fuck-ups, just for the extra 2,000 of you fuckers who showed up. Fuck-up number 6. Who and whom? Yeah, I'm barely fucking literate. I just sometimes have trouble discerning certain words and how to use them in a sentence properly. So I go with what sounds cooler. Stay mad about it. Last but certainly not least, a pretty big one, but one that is pretty easily correct. In my unhinged rant in the Sons of Malice video, I may or may not have confused the number 7 with the number 8 in terms of the legions. So I said the Night Lords were the 7th Legion, when in fact that was the Imperial Fists. Kind of embarrassing considering who I am, but oh well. And with that, I clean myself of all sin. I am now free to wander wherever I want. And I'm glad you are all here to wander with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to join the Discord, link in the description down below, and become a member of the Arthur Legion. Until next time. I promise if we ever get to it, the 10K sub special won't be late like this one. I mean, at least I got this one out when I... Oh, fucking